right, here we are.
Here we are again.
Black Friday.
Yes.
Neither you or I have money to buy anything.
I'm too poor.
So we might as well do a podcast.
Anyway, patreon.com or so.
Yeah. /RageSelect. No, finish saying. Just in case somebody needs to know. Welcome back, everybody, to the RageSelect podcast right here on RageSelect. I'm Jeff.
I'm Amanda.
Amanda, we've got the real weird grab bag today. We got the potpourri. We got
the cornucopia.
Yeah. Just a bunch of news stories shoved into a wicker gourd. What is that thing? What is the cornucopia?
What is a cornucopia?
What is it? It looks like it's like half a croissant made out of wood. Like,
yeah.
Is that what it's supposed to be?
It's the wicker croissant.
The wicker, I'm sure. Didn't your parents read you the fairy tale of the unashamed king and the wicker croissant when you were a kid?
That's amazing. I'm gonna write that.
Yeah. So we have a lot of very strange news stories.
Nice.
In fact, it wouldn't surprise me if we didn't go for the full amount of time that we normally go for, but every time I say that, we usually end up going like 20 minutes over.
Yeah, that happens.
You know, let's see if the curse continues. But before we get to any of this weirdness, I watched a TV show and I watched a movie last week.
Nice.
Which one would you like to hear about?
Ooh, TV show or movie? Movie.
I watched Conclave.
Oh,
with
fun.
Ralph
fun for the whole family, huh?
Yeah. If you're into a bunch of priests talking about who the Pope's going to be, written by Dan Brown, then
that's exciting.
I mean, it was good.
Fun.
It was very dry. Like a lot of it was, just then all the cardinals come and then they vote and then they do the thing and then they pray. And
the
then
bureaucracy of religion.
There was a lot of that. So it was fine, but it's
just like a talky movie, right? Like it's just a lot of monologues and speeches. And
I mean, it's got a huge cast of like really top notch actors. So like it's one of those ones where it's all talking, but it's interesting to watch. Yeah. Right. And as somebody who also is not really very religious, it's always interesting to see a bunch of people. You know, these are the Olympic medal God believers over here. These aren't just like average pick up in the street
of quote unquote kind of spiritual people.
Right.
These are like the ones that read all the books and stuff.
Yeah. They went to go work at HQ. Like they interviewed. They went all the way to the top. It's like boiler room.
They got the corner office up in heaven, just waiting for him.
No, it was fine actually. But the one I actually want to talk about more was the show because I watched the Penguin last week.
Why the fuck did you give me the option just to swerve me?
It's fine. It's fine. We have time for both. I watched the Penguin last week.
Nice. What'd you think of it? I heard good things.
The thing is that I had heard good things too, but I held off for a long time because I kept hearing good things from like, wow, I loved the Batman, and then the Penguin might have been even better. And I finally talked to Chris a few weeks back, and he was like, dude, are you watching the Penguin? I was like, no, I didn't like the Batman. Oh, he's like, oh, I fucking hated that movie, but this is really good. And I was like, oh, well, that's the endorsement that I needed to hear.
So from the outside looking in, I didn't watch that Batman movie, and I haven't watched the Penguin, but everything I've seen from or about the Penguin makes it look 100% crime drama, 0% superhero.
Yes.
Okay.
It's basically, or
like mafia drama, not necessarily. I don't. Crime and mafia might be.
It's basically The Sopranos, but then like a couple of characters. You know, the Batman has always had some mob stuff going on,
absolutely.
and then there's like the guys that dress up like a fucking scarecrow, and this is like all the mob stuff. And it was like, well, what if we just did? It's kind of like you remember when they did like the GCPD comic, and it was just like, what if we just wrote a cop comic?
Yeah.
This is like, what if it was just a mob show that happened to be in that universe?
Nice.
So like, no, like two people in the course of the entire show call Oswald Cobblepot the Penguin, and it's like a big insult to him because he's got one leg that's messed up, and so he walks in this kind of waddly way, and he's got this like scar on his face that kind of makes it look almost like he's got like a kind of, the scar goes to the bottom of his nose, so it kind of looks like a
beak,
a little beaky, but it's very subtle, but it's mostly just a crime thing, and it was incredibly well written. But the thing is that like I just did a Google search for the Penguin, and I brought up, and here's all this stuff. The one that that just floored me was, what's his face? Colin Farrell,
yes,
is the Penguin, and he's very good.
Yeah,
but Kristen Milioti is in here.
She's the How I Met Your Mother chick, right?
Yeah, and I've always thought that she's been incredibly underrated. I've enjoyed her in every single thing I've seen her in. She was in that Andy Samberg time loop movie.
Yeah.
Every time I've seen her in anything, she's been really good, and she's playing a character in here who is the daughter of, I think it was John Turturro's character, the head of the Falcone crime family.
Yeah.
So she's like the daughter, and her whole backstory is that she was put into Arkham Asylum basically
under false pretenses.
Yeah, and that she's out now, and so there's like this kind of this power vacuum with the deaths in the Batman.
Did Arkham rehabilitate her?
No,
as Arkham is known to do.
No, she actually plays a. See, the thing is that she plays a character from the comics, Sophia Falcone, and in the comics, like people probably know her from the Long Halloween, and in the comics, she's like this 7 foot tall, really big lady, and they call her the Hangman because she like fucking loops it over people and like hangs them and stuff.
Nice.
And then you've got little Kristen
she's
Milioti.
tiny, right? Yeah.
But she does an incredibly good job. She's got all the latitude in the world to like kind of be wacky, and as you know, you've got this kind of schemer guy and the Penguin, and then you've got this kind of wild card, and it was really good. It was 8 episodes, and they were each an hour a piece, and that was a little long for me, but and I think there were a couple points where it lulled a little bit, but again, it was really good. It was a lot of like,
nice.
Ooh, how are we going to get out of this one? And this is a backstabbing, crime dealing kind of stuff. Also, whoever wrote I think Matt Reeves actually either wrote or fully produced the series.
He definitely was like hands-on with it, right?
Yeah. And I swear to God, once or twice per episode, either Colin Farrell or Kristen Milioti gets to have a 5-minute monologue of some bullshit. It's just like, yep, that's what I want. All right.
Give me more of that. Yeah.
So yeah, if anybody's been on the fence about it, it was a really good adaptation. I think you watch the first episode and you'll know
what you're getting into.
Yeah. I mean, I think I was watching the first episode and it was like 10 minutes in and I was just like, oh, it's this kind of show. Like it was one of those ones where I was just like, okay, all right. So, really well shot, like real just grimy city mafia stuff. Couldn't recommend it more. Especially, I feel like I've got 2 diametrically opposed talking shows. I got the one where
the religious one and the exact opposite of religious.
I got the one where at least 3 people get killed per episode, and I've got the 2-hour movie where only the Pope dies at the beginning.
He didn't get killed.
Yeah, nobody in face makeup came in and like slashed his throat.
I don't know how religion works, Jeff. You could have told me.
That's how they pick a new pope. It's a knife fight. The Cardinals all gather. They break the pool cue in 2. They throw it on the table.
Who loves God more?
Right.
Fight it out.
Yeah.
Who's God's favorite now? Like, just go for it. That's horrifying.
Yeah. You know when they say kill them all, let God sort them out. That's where it came from. Yeah.
Picking the new pope.
Where do you think they got the idea for Battle Royale? It was from the Catholic Church.
That's concerning. I approve, but it's concerning.
Dude, if they did that, I would watch it on television.
I mean, much more religious.
I would pay for it on net. I would watch it on Netflix. Unlike that stupid Mike Tyson fight. That was such a waste of time.
I didn't bother.
What about you, Amanda? You watch anything? You see anything? Do anything good? Cool?
Well, Criterion, Barnes & Noble every year does a Criterion collection sale where the Criterion collection is 50% off.
Okay.
Which, if you know how expensive Criterion Blu-rays are, that's the only way you're going to get a reasonably priced Blu-ray from them. So we got a bunch, too many. We spent a lot of money. But we ended up watching one of them, which was Anatomy of a Murder, which is what's his name
movie,
from
right?
It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah, Jimmy Stewart.
Yeah, where he's a lawyer who's... They know that the person is guilty that he's working for. He knows that he's guilty. He murdered somebody that raped his wife.
Is that Hitchcock?
No, I thought it was Hitchcock too. John's like, No.
Okay. All right.
And I was like, oh dang, I'm sorry. The cover looks like Hitchcock to me. But
so it's like a courtroom thing?
It's a court drama, yeah. So they know the thing that's more interesting is that instead of it being about a guy and it's like this, is he guilty? Is he not guilty? It's like, no, he definitely killed this other man, but it's very insanity plea and what that means. And the prosecutors are trying really hard to not bring the rape into the case. And how they Jimmy Stewart more plays the jury to be like he's this charming guy, and the prosecutors are big city lawyers, and just how it all plays out and how it's all kind of treated like a game.
Okay.
And theatrically. Very talky. George C. Scott's in it. Oh my God. I only know him from movies where he is much older. And I was like, who is this foxy man walking in? Oh boy. But it's a great movie. It's fantastic.
General Patton, you read your book.
Yeah, it's so funny. It's so weird.
Oh, shit, wait. No, okay. That's like old school trailers.
Yeah, where it's going to give you the whole movie in 18 minutes for some reason. Yeah. It's very good. You'll see a bunch of actors in it for like 2 seconds. Like Floyd the barber from the Andy Griffith Show is in it for just a second. He's like just there for a minute.
Is that
if you
Judy
say
Garland?
No, but she looks just like her. I spent the whole time being like, that's Judy Garland. His Jimmy Stewart's assistant or like secretary is the principal in Grease.
Oh, okay.
Like you just keep running into all these actors that you see. It's just like stars studded. But yeah, no, it's fantastic. It's very talky, very courtroom drama-y.
Okay.
No one's like a perfect character in it, which is kind of nice because usually they get very
morally ambiguous.
Yeah, and you're like, it doesn't even feel nice by the end. You know what I mean?
It's based on a novel written by the Michigan Supreme Court Justice John D. Volker under the pen name Robert Traver.
Fun.
Volker based the novel on a 1952 murder case in which he was the defense attorney.
Oh, there you go.
So, hey.
The funniest part of this whole movie, and there is a lot of humor for being something about rape and murder, but there is a point where Jimmy Stewart stands up and goes, "Now I'm just a simple country lawyer." And we're like, oh my God, somebody actually said it in a movie
That's where that came from?
That's where that's from? Yeah, it's very funny.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But it's very good. It's pretty long. I think it's like
what else,
a 2.5 hour film.
What else did you get from the Criterion Collection?
I got Fire Walk With Me.
Oh, okay.
Because I really wanted it to have it physical. I got... The Girl Can't Help It, starring Jane Mansfield.
Okay.
And then I also got we got a double feature Val Lewton films. We got I Walk with the Zombie and The Seventh Victim. The Seventh Victim is one of my absolute favorite movies ever.
You've seen a lot more older movies than I have.
Yeah, a black and white movie, and I'll watch a black. And then I got It Happened One Night with Cary Grant, Clark Gable.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I had that one week where I watched the
plays,
the play movies, but I usually just go to Rotten Tomatoes. I'm like, what's got the highest score? I want to watch it. I don't care what it is.
Nothing new coming out.
Yeah,
is particularly interesting.
Moana 2, Wicked Part 1. I can't believe that shit's a part 1.
I didn't know it was a part 1.
They should put that on the fucking poster.
Nothing told me it was a part 1, and then people started talking about who you think they're going to cast for part 2. I'm like, part 2?
Yeah.
And then I'm so shitty. This is how bad I am. I hate the book series that, or like not series, but the book that Wicked is based on.
Okay.
I hate that author and the other books he did during that same time, because he did like the Ugly Stepsister book, and he did like a bunch of books that are the same idea. He just picked famous stories that already exist, and then what's the story from this perspective?
Sure.
And I hated it, and then I never read Wicked, and then they were like, now it's a musical, and I'm like, well, I'm never watching that. And then it's like, now it's a really popular movie, and I'm like, I'm still holding on to this. I don't know, it's been like 20 years.
I'm gonna wait for both parts to be out and for it to be free, and then the third part is it's got to be like a day where I don't have anything to do, where I've already watched everything else, and I'm kind of hungover, and I start watching it, and I'm like, and then I ended up watching the whole thing.
Musicals are fun no matter what. You have to do some real shitty things to make it a bad musical.
I was having Thanksgiving with my sister last night. She told me that Lin-Manuel Miranda has made a musical about the Warriors, and it's gender flipped. Gender flipped the Warriors musical.
Also, there's ska songs in it.
What?
It's not a movie. It's not anything but an album. It's just a concept album in which
Okay.
I was like, I'm gonna listen to this, and then I put on the first song, and I'm like, well, I don't really like Lin-Manuel Miranda. I don't know if I can do it.
I fucking love Lin-Manuel Miranda, so
but
I'm gonna listen to that.
He has a lot of Hamilton singers in it. Like it's
cool.
fully casted thing.
Nice. Yeah. Well, I gotta check that out.
That's for you, not for me.
Yeah,
but there is ska in it. Everyone. The only reason I found out is because I'm a part of ska groups where they're like Lin-Manuel Miranda, ska, Warriors, and I'm like, none of those work. What? What do you mean?
Maybe next week that'll be my thing on the podcast. I'll be talking about the
concept albums,
new concept albums. Well, speaking of pie in the sky concepts, RageSelect doesn't normally do a lot of political stuff, but that's because in a lot of ways politics doesn't tend. I mean, culture war tends to come in from time to time with a story.
Yeah.
But this week, Elon Musk announced that he's going to make a video game studio to quote, make games great again, which says to me that you're not playing video games. Video games are fucking great.
I promise you he doesn't play any video
games are great right now. Yeah. I finished Metaphor ReFantasia after 110 hours, and I finally was like, I need just something. So I went back and I started playing that Prince of Persia game that you and I played in like January.
Yeah.
So good. Like it was good when we played it.
Playing it. Yeah.
And it's remained good. The only problem is it's too hard for me to play drunk. So drunk Jeff was getting real mad at it last night. But anyway, so you'll never guess. Okay. Oh, God, I fucking hate this so much. Right. Here's a quote.
Yeah.
From the... what? I'm sorry. Before we move on. Okay, like... They let him make a government department who the acronym is Doge. Like, you let me make an internet meme. Like, and this would be like, oh, we're changing the Department of Education to I Can Has Learning. Like, why are you letting anyway? Sorry. Okay. Here we go. Quote, too many game studios are owned by massive corporations. That's not true.
Yeah.
I mean, some are, but how many, like, compared to the television industry, the film industry, the entire rest of the entertainment industry, music industry, how many other entertainment industries have the ability for independent people to put their hentai game on the front page of Steam after two people AI generate a bunch of titties and just slap it in Unity and then boom, like... No. And so he's starting his own corporation called XAI to start an AI game studio to, quote, make games great again. XAI.
Why? What's with him and the X? What's with him and the letter X?
He's an infant. He's a baby. He's tiny...
He's like X because it's extreme.
No, yeah, that's it. Like he bought like the rights to X.com a long time ago, and he wanted to make it everything because X's are cool. X's are cool. Like X-Men, X-Force, X-Factor.
Triple X movies.
Yeah, the Triple X movies. You could write the word extreme, but make the X really big. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Like... Okay, so XAI says it's, quote, working on building artificial intelligence to accelerate human scientific discovery, guided by our mission to advance collective understanding of the universe. So this is the same thing that runs this dumb AI that is a source of endless hilarity, where, like...
Stop being funny a long time ago.
If you ask Grok who Elon Musk is, it fucking puts its tongue all the way up his butt. But I saw a screenshot online where it's like, Elon Musk is a visionary, revolutionary inventor that's done all this stuff and blah, 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 blah. And then before it ends, it's like, and is the current owner of Twitter.com. And it was like, your own AI hasn't gotten the memo.
I love it.
Yeah. So I have nothing but horror in my heart for this idea.
Yeah.
Like, this fucking piece of shit can go ruin other stuff. You go ruin other things.
Yeah.
Don't ruin my shit, you shit. Like,
you're stepping on our territory now.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. Like, you
not wanted.
Make dumbass electric cars. That's your prerogative. You want to make rockets? So do I. I play Kerbal Space Program.
He's threatening to buy Hasbro because he wants to own D&D.
Oh, Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah. I might. The problem that I have here is that, like, okay, you may politically identify with Elon Musk. I'm not you. I don't know your life, right? But generally speaking, we don't want people to be getting large entities who are going to run them personally, right?
Yeah.
Like, there is something to be said for your faceless corporate overlords because, fucking Tim Cook at Apple isn't like, well, my favorite color is purple, so all iPhones are purple.
Yeah.
Everything is purple now because I like purple, and if you don't like purple, you're stupid. So we're just going to make everything purple from now on. Like,
yeah.
And Elon Musk is that guy. Like, he bought Twitter because people were mean to him on Twitter, and now Twitter is like garbage, like useless. So please don't come into because what I'm worried is that he has so much fucking money that he'll try this, it'll fail, and he'll start trying to buy studios.
Yeah.
Because I don't want IO Interactive or
running himself thin with everything. Like, he wants to buy everything and have a bit of.
He's so personally wealthy that, like,
I know.
It's like he's so. What was the idea that it's like? Oh God, what is that thing? Everybody needs to hear this. Like the you've heard the thing where, like, if you went back to the dawn of time and you made like $1 million like a minute, do you know what I'm talking about?
Vaguely.
Make
$1 million if you give a mouse a cookie. Give me money. I'm so poor.
What was the thing? Okay, well, that's a different thing. Anyway, people don't entirely understand, like, how much money $1 trillion is.
Yeah.
Like, it's so much money that it's like theoretically, it's theoretically ridiculous. Like, you can go back and say, like, if you made $1 million an hour every day for, like, 100 years, you would not.
Yeah.
You're not even close. Like,
why does anybody need that amount of money?
Well, that wanders a little bit further.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I agree. The thing that I don't like about it is I'm just like, I'm tired of. I don't like the idea of somebody being like, I've decided that there's something wrong with what you like in the world, and so I'm going to buy the thing.
Yeah.
I'm going to buy my way into the thing that you like and then fuck it all up.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be one thing to start your own company and then fuck up that company or run that company in a way that I don't like, but
yeah,
he has a tendency to kind of take everything out around him. And that it sucks.
It's too big.
It's
too big. So I do not want Elon Musk anywhere near video games. I want him to go do his dumb meme bullshit, and I want him to stay away. But so I really hope, or I hope that it fails and then he just lets it go.
Yeah, moves on. Like,
because I can't think of anybody worse to. I honestly can't think of that many words.
Person or two.
I mean, maybe if we stretched a little bit, but still.
But yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah,
it's just
bad, and you know that if it does happen, it's going to be such a poorly run company, right? Because his whole thing right now is just like firing tons of people and then replacing them with tech, and it's like,
I mean. But that do be happening in the video game industry now, though.
That's very true. Anyway, yeah, that came up at the last minute, and I was just like, no, I want I don't talk about you when you're doing all of your other bullshit.
No.
Don't put your foot over here.
Yeah.
This is my side of the room. You stay on your side of the room.
I tried not to bring you up.
Yeah.
You made your choice, and now I am going to bring you up.
So, Okay, well, how about something, how about a technological thing that people might actually like?
Okay.
Apparently, Sony is working on a portable version of the PS5.
Ooh.
So kind of like one would assume like a Steam Deck or, you know, a Switch, right? But that runs like some kind of pared down hardware set.
Digital only, or is it big enough to put a whole ass disc into?
Oh, we're so far, we're so early on in the days that who can say? I mean, you know, Sony for their, I think that what they probably did was they have their little remote thing. I forget what they called it. That actually sold a lot better than they thought.
Handheld is good. Handheld works.
Yeah.
I'll look you all in the eyes and I'll let you know that the only reason I don't game as much is because handheld.
Because the Portal streamed directly from the PS5 over your network, so you had to have it on. But then they recently did an update where you could stream like games from the cloud using their streaming service. Yeah. So you didn't have to do it through your PlayStation.
Yeah. I don't know, like get super in love with that either, But
I think the big thing is, again, it's just they put this thing out and it was a real niche kind of concept thing, and they just immediately sold out. And they sold it the second run, and they sold very well.
So they're like, fuck, what if we portable more?
Yeah. Also, I mean, the thing I think I read, because there was been a rumor going around that Xbox is also working on some kind of like portable thing.
What is this, a renaissance for me? Yay.
Well, I think, well, for me, it's weird because it's like, you guys, the Switch came out like
the Switch is always ahead of everybody else, baby.
Ago.
I fucking backing them out. You always back the right pony. History has proven me right time and time again.
But it came out and sold like gangbusters. Why'd you guys start copying this shit earlier, like years ago? But I don't know.
Sometimes they go, Nintendo's just like a novelty, and then they go, actually, psych, super important.
Yeah. So obviously there's going to be a little, I mean, you know, they've said that it's going to be years before this would hit the market.
Yeah, but it's in development.
But if there's probably something in development. The question becomes, because I mean, I think that the other question is if the Switch 2 ends up being the same, you know, not significantly different, right? Yeah. Same form factor, portable, put it in the dock, play it on the TV type of thing. With between that and the Steam Deck, and there's a few third-party ones and stuff that are out there, it seems like a market that has legs, will make money, and that everybody should be trying to get into in one way or another. Even though, like, Microsoft has been very, I don't know, you know, Microsoft doesn't have a VR. They never tried to do VR. They never tried to do a portable. Like, Sony's had two. You know, they had the PSP and the PS Vita. And
that's true. Fuck, I forgot about the Vita. I was just thinking about PSP.
Yeah. So it's kind of weird to think that this trend took so long, and that they were, I mean, I figure like after the Steam Deck came out, you would be like, oh shit, this thing has traction, right?
Yeah.
If Valve can sell handheld PCs to people, then like,
yeah, I don't know if they just were so caught up in their own bullshit that they didn't look at it or think about it.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe it'll be a good thing. Let's see. In other Sony news, Shuhei Yoshida is going to be retiring in January. He was one of the like leaders of Sony for quite some time. He's been there for 31 years. From 2000, I believe, was it 2008 to 2019? He was in charge of first-party development at Sony. There's a lot of really interesting stuff came out around that time. Nice. Since 2019, he's basically been liaison for all the indie games and the indie projects that Sony has been doing.
Yeah.
So he is like he's a vet who's been around for quite some time.
Yeah.
Although, you know, you look at Sony first-party output, like this year, there was very little.
Yeah.
There wasn't anything, I don't think. There was Concord. Concord was the big first-party Sony thing that came out this year.
Wow. Rough.
So,
hard time, huh?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think he had anything to do with that.
But in fairness, isn't this the drought we're getting because of the like pandemic and stuff? Like, this is when those are all hitting us?
I think so. I think that there was a brief, there was like a blip Well, actually,
because of how like development cycles.
Actually, no, I don't think this is pandemic. I think this is a timing thing where like it's hard to explain because last year was really good, but remember how 2022 was also a little bit of a bummer year. Like there weren't just like huge mega hits in 2022. And for me, I thought that was because stuff that was started in 2019 then got delayed by the pandemic out of 2022 into 2023.
Yeah.
And so you ended up with like, you had stuff with a really long development time that was coming out in 2023, stuff that got delayed that came out, and then stuff that even started once lockdown started lifting in 2021. And all three of those all bore fruit last year.
Yeah.
And so I think that in a lot of ways, it's like this year, the dip is just the fact that like, we got this weirdly stellar year last year.
Yeah.
And so there aren't, there's not a new Resident Evil this year. There's not a new, take your pick.
True. There's like a lot of, it's that weird, like the wave goes high, then there has to be a low behind it. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's also just the entire market receded. So like even stuff that might have been getting ready to come out, is probably going to be either backed up or moved somewhere else. But yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens next. I don't really think a lot about the internal people running the development studios, but shakeups are never a bad thing. Let's see. We also got some more information about FromSoft and Katakawa and Sony from last week. So I don't know how much you know about this.
0.
Okay. Last week there was a report that Sony was trying to acquire a Japanese company called Katakawa. They own several game studios. But most notably From Software. Also the people that make Danganronpa. There's a few other games in there. They're also really big into anime. Like they have a bunch of anime and manga studios that they work with. So last week, the idea was floated that Sony was looking to try to buy them. We got some more information, which is kind of interesting, that it was actually Katakawa who floated the idea to Sony because there's a Korean company called Kakao. In addition, there's also Tencent and Microsoft, who are all apparently, according to industry reports, like looking to hostily take over Katakawa.
And so they're like, please purchase us
so
that we don't get taken over.
Yes, but then there's a problem, and the problem is that Sony doesn't want all of the non-video game stuff. They don't want the anime or the manga stuff. They want From Software, basically.
Why not?
I think because like
they don't have entertainment shit on their end too.
I don't. I think it's because it's doubling up in weird ways. Like Sony owns Crunchyroll, so they already have a big like manga, like a big anime division. So absorbing all the rest of this stuff would be like, we're just doubling this whole operation. And to be honest, everything that I've heard, anime is a terrible profit industry because it costs, even with the horrible conditions in Japan. It just costs too much money because you have to pay like armies of people to draw animation, and then what you get back is you get a successful show, and 1 in 100 will be like, big fucking through the moons. But then even when they're like that, then you have to make all your money on like tie-in, like figures and shirts and stuff, like merchandise. So I think that Sony really wants FromSoft and does not want to deal with the rest of this, or at least that's what's been reported. But then there's another wrinkle, and that's the idea that last week when Sony was rumored to be buying Katakawa, their stock shot up. So they're now more expensive.
Oops.
And so everything is kind of in limbo right now. They're still talking where like Katakawa, because I think last week Blake and I talked about this in a way where it was like, what do we think about Sony buying FromSoft, basically? Do we think that would be good? Do we think that would be bad? But the idea that like Katakawa is like, no, we want Sony to buy us because we have a good relationship with them, as opposed to having like Tencent come in and start making like Elden Ring 2 be a free-to-play game with a shitload of microtransactions. So it's an interesting situation that they're in because Sony also had a huge hit this year with Concord. With all the money that they put into that and then how much they got back from it.
Yeah, but is it worth the risk of losing a little money to get from software and get a better game that is now... Do you know what I mean? You get that, that's rough.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that I think that Sony is... because they also bought Bungie, and that's been a bad investment. It has not really, Destiny was kind of moving downwards, and the last couple expansions have not sold really super great. So I think the idea here is that Katakawa wants Sony to buy everything, and Sony's would have to really leverage assets in order to make that sale, and so it would take them a lot longer to recoup that sale cost, even though FromSoft is a great deal. But when we talk about FromSoft's Titanic profits, we're talking about $50 million in profit, right? Well, they bought Bungie for 3.6 billion or something like that. So again, we're going to the big numbers of it's going to take a long time to recoup that. And then you have to ask yourself that if you're trying to aggressively recoup that cost by getting FromSoft to start pumping out things so that you can get the sales data or the sales money, is that going to then dilute their brand to the point where you're going to ruin it and then it's not even worth it, et cetera, et cetera? Because FromSoft is still not The Last of Us, right? So I don't know. It's a tricky situation.
It is. I don't know if there's a winning way of doing that.
I'm rooting for not having Tencent or Kakao buy it because they tend to be a little meddlesome, in my opinion. And I don't like that.
I'm going for whatever Katakawa wants.
Yeah.
If they're saying that they feel like they'll have a better home in Sony, then I want them at Sony.
Yeah. Yep. I agree. Let's see. Speaking of some bullshit, we got and speaking of Tencent and some bullshit, this week we got the announcement of a game that Tencent is making called Light of Motiram. Light of Motiram.
Motrium, like the pills?
Motrim Silver. Amanda,
yes,
I'm showing you a trailer. Does this trailer remind you of anything?
Yes.
What does it remind you of?
Horizon Zero Dawn. Well, Horizon, I don't know.
Yeah.
Not Zero Dawn. I don't know the difference between
the Horizon franchise.
The Horizon franchise, but it reminds me of Horizon.
Like a little bit? Or
so when this trailer that you're showing me started, a little bit.
Yeah.
When the creatures stared showing up, a lot of it.
Yeah. When the robots, the various robots started showing
animals,
up.
Yes.
Yes. If you look at the website for this, let's see if I can find the website. If you look at the promo art for it, right?
Had you said this is the next Horizon game, I'd be like, yes, it is.
Actionably, like you're gonna get sued. There's having a robot deer that your main character rides, and then there's that's just Aloy with a different face. But the funny thing is, I actually went and I looked this thing up, and I looked up what kind of game it is. And what's so funny about it is, this is so weird. I don't know why they did this. This is Power World, where you make the robot animals, and then you put them to work in your survival factory, making
That's funny, because I was gonna say it's Power World, just in the sense that it ripped off of another franchise,
right? Except that even Power World, I think, was smart enough to file the serial numbers off a little harder than this. This all of the tech, all of the way the robots are put together, it all looks like Horizon. The way that the way that the characters are dressed in this kind of primitive, but then they've got the pieces of the robots on them.
Yeah.
So they have some combat in the trailer, and the combat to me looks a lot like Monster Hunter.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot more melee focused. So the idea, I guess, here is what if Horizon Zero Dawn was Power World with Monster Hunter combat? But the question that I have, I really do recommend that everybody go look up some screenshots for this, because it's pretty redonkulous how much it looks like
how on
Horizon.
The nose it is.
Yeah. Like, it almost looks like they put the entire Horizon art book into an AI, a large learning model, and then they were like, make me new stuff that looks like that. Yeah.
Sure.
So I guess the question at this point is, like, will Sony sue? Because it's actually a little difficult. I've actually learned a lot about this stuff because of Power World. Like, in the United States, it's a lot easier to get you have to prove that somebody will look at this and be confused and think they're buying Horizon when they buy this, which I actually think that, like, there's a pretty good case for that.
Yeah.
Like, especially when we're looking at this article, when you look at, like, the comparison of, like, this is their tall guy with antlers and this is Horizon's tall guy with antlers. Yeah. Like, this is their bull and this is Horizon's bull. And it's like,
I feel like there's enough animals in the world that you don't have to be using the exact same animals too. You know what I mean? Where it's like a deer, another deer, bull, another bull. And it's like, you couldn't think of something other than a bull?
Yeah.
You know?
So I think that there's probably enough there that they would probably have a pretty decent case. Of course, I feel so bad. I feel like Horizon just gets nothing but kicked around and kicked around and kicked around. Like, the first one came out the same week as Breath of the Wild, and the second one came out the same week as Elden Ring. And apparently that Lego one is sold like garbage, and nobody bought it.
Oh, really?
But
I didn't understand why they came out with it. So
yeah, to me, I'm like, I don't have any sympathy for you guys on that. You're gonna make a Lego Horizon game?
Yeah, somebody pitched that, and y'all were like, genius.
Especially when the remaster of the first game came out like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, I don't know what they thought was going to happen with that.
Yeah. So, but anyway, I recommend everybody go look it up because it is truly ridiculous. Truly ridiculous. Like, when I saw the first screenshot, I was like, oh, is that a Horizon game?
Yep.
And I was like, nope.
In a sense.
Yeah. Let's see. Speaking of potential lawsuits, or actually speaking of lawsuits that actually exist, Microsoft had a big court case recently Epic had a big court case where they were going after Apple and Android to basically make the case that it is illegal and uncompetitive to require all apps to use their store.
Okay,
that you should be able to have a competing store. And Microsoft has been keeping an eye on this, because what they want to do is once they don't have to use the cell phone ecosystem for billing, they want the Xbox app to be something where you can, like, buy games for your console through the app without having to without letting the cell phone people have to take a chunk.
Get their little percentage out of there or whatever. Yeah.
And with this, with the ruling that came, it was like 3 weeks ago, they thought that they were there. They thought that it was time, and they were gonna be able to put it out. Unfortunately, Google is appealing the decision that they have to allow basically third-party payment processing and apps through their system. And then they filed a stay to keep Microsoft from implementing that until the appeal has been resolved, which is reasonable. Like, if the appeal goes the opposite way, you don't want the thing to be running the whole time. But it does mean that Microsoft can't let that functionality occur at this point. So last week, was it Sarah Bond, one of the execs there, came out and put out a tweet basically saying, like, everything is set up to let you do this. Like, we have all
a flip of a switch at this point.
But we can't do it because Google is being somewhat
litigious. I imagine it sounded a little more like, but we can't do it because Google won't let us. You know?
Now, Google, their response, Google's response is so fucking stupid, and I hate it so much. Quote, Microsoft has always been able to offer their Android users the ability to play and purchase Xbox games directly from their app. They've simply chosen not to. That's not true because you would have to go through the payment system of Android. The court's order and rush to force its implementation threaten Google Play's ability to provide a safe and secure experience. Microsoft, like Epic, are ignoring these very real security concerns. We remain focused on supporting an ecosystem that works for everyone, not just two of the largest game companies. Where it's like one of the reasons that the cell phone companies have been trying to put up there that they can't do this is like it's a security problem. It's like because if you just let anybody process like payments, then you could have bad actors that were trying to like get into your, if you allow another app to basically get to your bank account through our cell phone,
makes it 10 times easier to scam you.
Yes. Yeah. Then they could just, if they take your money, then you're going to be coming to me and saying, hey, why did you let this guy take my money? It's like you downloaded the thing on your own. Yeah. It wasn't on the App Store. It wasn't part of our thing. But it's fucking Microsoft. It's not like Joe's scammy computer play. The idea of the world is like, Epic they're not looking out for your safety. I'm like, man, I've been on the fucking Android store. You're not looking out for shit.
I know. The apps they have on there, it's, yeah.
Yeah.
Come on, guys.
Tim Sweeney from Epic basically came out. His statement was, quote, Google's statement is deceitful. Shame on them. They well know that the 30% cut that they demand is far more than all of the profit from game streaming. They know this because they blew hundreds of millions of dollars building the failed Stadia game business themselves.
Oh, he went personal. Oh, I didn't know we were hurting people's feelings today. Holy shit.
I didn't know the gloves were all the way off. Okay.
God damn, man.
Yeah, Tim Sweeney has basically been like, oh, yeah, Fortnite makes me a lot of money.
That one locked and loaded. He was just waiting.
Fortnite's made me a lot of money, and I'm going to use it to sue Apple and Google, and then nobody has to tell me what to do.
Fully respect that, man.
Yep. And with that, we're going to go ahead and take a break.
Nice.
We're a little bit over, but
us?
We're still on track. Still on track.
Yeah.
So we'll be back in just a minute with more news. And we're back.
Yes.
And before we left, we were talking about lawsuits and all kinds of law stuff.
Yeah.
We got some more lawsuits.
Oh, fun.
This one is a little weird. So Nintendo has been kind of on a rampage recently when it comes to emulators and piracy and emulation.
Yeah.
They've sued a number of folks. And this is one where, like, in the past, I've had a lot of, like, if you do, like, piracy is still a crime.
Yeah.
And if you do it and you put it online and you
wouldn't download a car, would you?
You write an instruction manual on how to do it. That's kind of like, So, okay, a little while back, there was a lawsuit that Nintendo brought against like the head moderator of this. It was called the Switch Piracy subreddit. And they were also linked to a website that was like selling tools and providing stuff. And the moderator was this guy named James Williams. They tried to serve him. They weren't able to. He didn't show up to court. They had a summary judgment against him. It was this huge fucking thing. That happened a little while back. Well, Nintendo is now back saying that, like...
Oh, they want this guy.
Well, see, this is where it gets tricky because their rationale, they've come back and they've said, well, okay, because this guy didn't show up to court and because we weren't able to serve him, we weren't able to do discovery, which means that we weren't able to basically, like, dig into his personal accounts in places. So they are now subpoenaing, like, the real like names of like 200,000 people that are on the Switch Piracy subreddit.
Holy shit.
As well as business records from Cloudflare, Discord, GitHub, Google, and also some domain name companies, Namecheap, GoDaddy, and 2Cows. And I'm like, And the contention is like this guy has aliases and sock puppet accounts and things where he can continue to do this stuff. So we need to get all the personal information.
Wow.
And this is one where I'm like, no.
Yeah, that's a little scorched earthy almost. Like,
yeah,
you're really going for it.
Yeah, there's like, you know, some of this stuff, like if you make a Switch emulator and you put it on a website and you also provide everything that everybody needs for it, like there's a video online that I watched that talked about the way that you do this is like you'll have one company that is like, or you have one website that's like, here is a Switch emulator.
Yeah.
For educational purposes only. The end. I will not answer any questions. I will not tell you about video games.
Yeah.
And then over here, you have another website that's completely owned by either somebody else or it's like completely different, no connection whatsoever. That's just like, here's how to get a Switch emulator running. And then you have a third website. They're like, I've got a bunch of ROMs for Switch games. And you keep all of these real fucking, like the Offspring, you got to keep them separated because if they're touching each other, then it indicates that you've got a whole system of like, because if you can say, well, this emulator is not for pirating video games, it's a research tool for how Switch games work. That's all it is. It's not my fault if people go and do the things.
If they're smart enough to figure it out, that's on them. That's not on me.
In fact, a lot of them, what they'll do is they won't give you the like the system software, like the BIOS and the operating system. Mm-hmm. So you're supposed to have to like dump those from a legitimate Switch, and then you can use the emulator. But there's also other places where you can go download those.
Yeah.
Anyway, Nintendo's gotten a bug up their butt, and I think it's because Tears of the Kingdom last year got leaked like 2 weeks. Or 3 weeks before it came out.
Yeah.
And it was all over the Switch piracy websites. And they've had a few good successes with prosecuting people. They've run both of the major Switch emulators off of the internet. The GitHub repros are all gone. Anybody that's made a fork is like been shut down. Mm-hmm. But this is a little much for me. The idea of like, I need you to give me the information of like
everyone that's on that subreddit.
Yeah.
That's a bit.
As well as like, you know, the subreddit even is one thing, but like Cloudflare and Discord and GitHub, like that's a lot of information from a lot of like specific places. And I just don't think that any company should have carte blanche to be like, oh, well, I can do whatever I want to. I can go into anybody's private whatever, because you could be costing me money. Like there's still never, I mean, not to get on the fucking piracy train, but there's not like a direct one-to-one that says every single person who pirated Tears of the Kingdom didn't buy a copy of Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah.
And I know that because I got Tears of the Kingdom working as intellectual exercise, and I did purchase a copy of Tears of the Kingdom, and I didn't play it on an emulator. I played it on the fucking Nintendo Switch. So, I think that this is one toke over the line, sweet Jesus.
It's a bit much.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Especially considering that Nintendo isn't exactly like, they're not a struggling company. And I know that they have a lot of like weird, Nintendo the company has a lot of weird emotion, and I keep bringing this up because it's worth talking about how they watched MGM break themselves trying to sue Nintendo over Donkey Kong with the King Kong thing.
They got that PTSD from it.
Yeah, and they watched, like, they were a tiny company at that time, and they watched this huge movie studio just like waste all this time and money, and then it was just like, nope, it's fine, get the fuck out of here. And it like tarnished their reputation and the like power of that brand and stuff. So I think they get really weirdly litigious about stuff. But again,
in that same fashion, don't they run the risk of doing that to themselves by being like this? Yeah,
and in fact, the Pow World lawsuit that they're doing is, there's something really weird is going on with that. Like we got a couple weeks back about the amount of money that they're asking for is like $50,000 US.
Yeah.
Like that's the amount of money they're asking for in the total judgment. And it's just like,
oh,
why?
Yeah. This is like one person paycheck.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Yeah. So I don't know.
That's the exact amount of money they need to save the rec center.
So yeah, I hope that they put a stop to this, at least here. I mean, Japanese courts are different than American courts.
Yeah,
but
that's true too.
I really hope that they don't give up all that information, just because I'm just not a big fan of asking for a lot of people's user information.
Yeah,
it just
really opens you up for that to be abused real easily.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I don't like that. It feels grimy.
Yep. I don't know.
Maybe take a fucking chill pill, Nintendo. One chill pill.
You know what it reminds me of is, you remember back in the day when Nintendo used to copyright strike every single Let's Play?
Yeah.
Because they were like, if there's footage of the new Mario game, then people won't play Mario. They'll just watch somebody else play Mario. And it's like, that's not how this works, buddy.
If anything, it like sells the game more for people.
Yeah. So, I don't know.
Duh.
Well, speaking of Power World is doing a crossover with Terraria.
Oh, sure.
Which I don't exactly know how that works. I guess they're going to be putting some Terraria stuff into Power World and some Power World stuff into Terraria. But
nice. They're like, look, we can't cross over with Pokemon, so I guess we'll do the next best thing.
I think that's really the only. I mean, there's also a big update coming with a big new island in Power World. I think that the other story that I had this week was that there were a lot of people that were mad that Power World basically got no Game of the Year nominations, in spite of the fact that like a lot of people like Power World. But
yeah, I kind of get that though. From a video game politics level, I think I understand what's happening there.
Yeah, I guess I kind of, I played a lot of it when it first came out, and then
man, you were all about it.
And then I was like, well, I'm gonna this is technically still in early access, so I think I'd still wait for this to come into 1.0 until I actually got into it, as opposed to just doing the thing. But yeah, that's supposed to be coming at some point in 2025. So keep an eye out.
So close to 2025.
Yeah.
Kill me.
I just realized that I haven't started planning any of the holiday videos for RageSelect. I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do this year.
I don't want to do it. I mean, it would be fun.
Let's see. Speaking of DLC, Steam has done a good this week. So Steam has put out some new guidelines when it comes to DLC for video games.
Okay.
Specifically, so Steam has instituted something saying that if you are going to be selling DLC for a video game before, and that's currently in development, you must put a release date on the DLC. It cannot be at some point in the future. It has to be December of 2025.
Yeah.
And that, especially if you are selling it as part of an ultimate edition that comes with the DLC, it must have release date. You are allowed one time to move that release date, but only one time.
Ooh.
And if you do not provide the DLC by that release date, Steam now will be auto refunding people either the cost of the DLC if it was purchased separately, or they will, if you buy a $90 edition, they'll give you back the $25 that it would have cost for the DLC. If they don't if they don't hit the proposed deadline.
Yeah.
So basically expanding it to the idea that you can't just say,
promise something that never comes out.
We'll put the thing in at some point. Here's our game with the roadmap, and buy the $90 edition, because we've actually seen a couple of games. What was the most? I think no, it wasn't Redfall. There was some big one where the studio shut down, or they canceled it, and there was an enhanced edition
that had DLC that never
had
came out.
DLC. So the main game came out, but the DLC never actually fully came out, and you're done with that partial refund. And but yeah, I think that's a really good precedent.
Yeah,
that's a really good way. I mean, Steam's still the only platform that has a return policy, where you can buy a game and be like, this game sucks, give me back my money.
Yeah.
For no reason. You could just say, one of the reasons is, I didn't like it. Yeah. So
nice.
I have to appreciate that.
Good job, Steam.
Yeah. I still think that we should have the universal ability to return video games.
Yeah.
I think that would solve a lot of problems in the industry, to be no, you can't take a restocking fee. If it's within the first 10 days, you have to take it back, and you have to give me back all of my money. And I don't care whether I bought it on the store or digitally or from Target. You have to accept returns on video games, because that way you can't
just sell
trick me.
Bad, fake, broken video games.
Yeah. Well, there would be a financial consequence to releasing a half-finished video game.
Yeah.
So, but you know what? If that had been the policy, No Man's Sky might have just Hello Games might have completely gone out of business in the first 6 months. And then they never would have gotten to where they got today, where after what has it been, 8 years, I think. After 8 years, the Steam review, the little, where it says positive, negative, overwhelmingly negative, mostly positive, is now mostly positive on both. So Lifetime as well as recent, which is interesting because the math on that apparently, once you've accrued a huge number of negative ratings, getting enough new ratings to
that
switch it
is difficult.
Is very difficult.
Takes about 8 years.
Well, yeah, and then since they did that.
Sorry, who's tweeting this? That's amazing.
Oh, it's Sean Murray. He's the CEO of
Holy shit, you guys, it happened.
Yeah. Because I think they had always had their recent reviews had always been positive.
Yeah.
But that the all reviews had gone from overwhelmingly negative to
Yeah, it takes a long time to crawl out of that quicksand.
Yeah. And you know what? I've never heard a single big criticism for any of the updates that they've ever done. I've never heard that they put out a new update and it broke the game, or it made things worse, or that there was a huge kerfuffle on their subreddit. I look at the news sites every week, so
yeah, you would think you would see something if
Now the only question here is overwhelmingly positive is 90% of the reviews are thumbs up, and so they did a thing where it's right now it's very positive. And what did they say in this article? Where if there were 100,000 additional positive reviews, it would basically raise it up about 5 points, and it needs 10 points to get to overwhelmingly positive. So it would take something something like 300,000 positive reviews with no negative reviews.
Yeah. The people that left negative reviews would have to delete their negative reviews.
Yes.
And then post new positive reviews.
Yeah.
Come on, guys. Let's do it. Christmas miracle. Let's get it done.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's a nice thing that happened.
Yeah, that's cool. Good for them.
Speaking of Steam, here's just a I don't know. This is kind of a tragic story, but it's also really funny.
Oh, God.
So as part of the current Steam sale, Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League is $3.69.
So cheap. The only way I'm willing to pay for it.
Yeah, $3.49 on Steam.
Yep.
That was a full $70 retail game that launched with the $90 collector's edition. Apparently it's been at $15 for the last 8 months.
Yeah.
And for the sale, they just got headlines.
Yeah. Maybe a bunch of people will buy it and play it and absolutely love it. Not me, though.
I'll say the thing I always say. I didn't totally hate playing that game. I came to it where it was. I wasn't looking for a new Batman game. It was called Suicide Squad Kills Justice League.
Yeah, I understood what I was getting myself into.
Right. That's what I assumed we were going to do, and then that's what I did. But then it got to the end of the game, and it was okay, now do that 13 more times per season for the next year. And I was like, no, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
What game do you want to be $3.50 on sale right now?
Oh my God, I don't know.
Is there anything that you've been wanting to play and you've held off?
No, there was, but I can't think of any of them. Like, you put me on the spot and my brain goes, there's just never been a video game.
What's a video game? Yeah. I don't remember any of them.
And then I'm like, what is John playing right now that has been like triggering my instinct to want to play? And it hasn't, but John's been playing Midnight Suns.
Uh-huh.
And so,
that was really cheap too, right?
Yeah, because that's why he got it, because it was really cheap and he had like a coupon thing through one of the apps or whatever. And so he bought it, and it's just like... I don't know. I'm not a video gamer.
Yeah.
I used to be, but now I'm not. Well, I ebb and flow in my interest in video games.
What about the one wheel? You get the one wheel for only $1,800 on Black Friday.
Have you ever seen people on those around town?
No.
It looks ridiculous.
Yeah.
Not fun. Ridiculous. It looks like you're gonna eat it, you're gonna cry, and then you're gonna have to get up and get back on your fucking unicycle skateboard.
Sure.
And it's just like, and I will.
If it was $350, I'd buy one.
Yeah.
Let's see. Speaking of success, not failure, Balatro was nominated last week for one of the Game of the Year slots. And sales of Balatro spiked so hard they made like $700,000 in a week.
Good job, Balatro. Do I know Balatro?
Maybe. The thing is, actually, if you don't,
I feel like John's talked to me about it, but I can't.
It's a card game.
Well, that would explain why John talked to me about it.
It's I know. I typed it like a SpongeBob.
Jeff accidentally hit the caps lock at some point, so it went Balatro. Like, it starts real quiet and then becomes a scream.
It's a card game where you get a whole deck of cards, and you get a bunch of cards dealt to you, and then you have to create hands. And your goal is to hit a certain score by the end of the round.
Yeah.
But then the thing is that you get these jokers, and you also get like modifiers where like it'll make it so that you'll get like every 10 in your, because you have your regular score, then you have a thing called mult, which is like your multiplier, so your score gets multiplied before it gets applied. And so you get like a joker that's like all even numbered cards count towards mult, so then your mult goes from 1 to, like, if you have 3 even number cards, then it's 4, so then it's like X4.
Yeah.
So it's a little tricky to kind of wrap your head around at first, but
one of those things that, like, once you start playing it, it starts making sense, and then you sound like a crazy person because you know all these weird rules and side rules.
Yeah. And then it's really well designed in that, like, when you have a good hand and you go to apply it, like all the audio of it, like counting up the different the point totals and stuff. But the reason I say it to you is because one of the things I was in the story was that they just put it out on phones like 2 months ago, and it is a perfect phone game because it's just a card game, right? You're just picking cards, so it's great for touchscreen and stuff like that. But yeah, but this was kind of a weird thing where everybody's like, is Balatro going to win Game of the Year because it's such a weak year, and like this isn't the sort of game.
That is kind of weird to have this be the one that wins.
Yeah. Like, it would be like if Dave the Diver was on the 2023 Game of the Year awards nominations, and you're like, it's good, but like, what
any other year it wouldn't be this high up.
What if Threes won Game of the Year?
What else is nominated for Game of the Year?
It is Balatro, Astrobot,
Wow, Astrobots.
Metaphor Refantasio, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, the Shadow of the Erdtree DLC for Elden Ring, which they actually altered the rules to include.
Jesus.
Because normally you wouldn't put a DLC as Game of the Year.
Yeah.
And then that Black Myth Wukong game that I really don't think... Well, the thing is, Black Myth Wukong I don't think should be on there, but we have another story talking about that there's some new stuff coming for that game, and apparently that game made like $700 million in its first week. And like... because it was a PlayStation exclusive, like in a lot of ways that offset almost the entire loss of Concord, because you had this one weird like game that just kind of came out of nowhere that became this weird phenomenon.
If it offset, then they should get
Katakawa. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure it's more complicated than that.
I know. I just
hey, Zoom call with us, Sony executives.
Come
we'll
on.
tell you, do it.
I'll take over.
Just do it.
That one guy that was there for 30 years.
Yeah.
Fuck him. I'm in now.
He's leaving.
I'm in here 30 minutes. I got this all solved out for you.
Actually, I think you would be a good head of indie games.
Yeah.
You would have indie developers coming to you with their crazy games, and you'd be like this
yes,
one and not this one, and yes, this one and no,
I mean,
that one.
I would enjoy it.
Yeah. So yeah,
they're like, she likes weird, sexy dating games. If you don't have big titty anime girls, forget it. She's not going to play it.
The thing that's so crazy about this too is that Balatro was made by one guy. And it's just.
I mean, how many people do you need to make a card game?
Well, you got like sound effects and art and stuff, and then programming,
sure.
and I'm always happy when I read the story about like one crazy dude made this game. Like a Vampire Survivors, where it's just like one crazy dude made this game and put it out, and everybody was like, "Oh, it's a pretty good game," and then it's just like everybody bought it, everybody played it, and it made $10 million, and now they're like, cool. I guess I won. I won life.
My favorite thing about video games is that sometimes it just takes a weird idea done correct.
Yep.
Or fun.
Yep.
And then it'll just like everyone will want to do it. People that don't think of themselves as gamers will play the weirdest shit because it's just a thing. Like, fuck, why did everybody play Flappy Bird?
Why did everybody play Among Us?
Yeah.
That's so strange.
Well, everyone played Among Us because we were all in the pandemic and it was the closest thing you had to hang out with friends.
That's true. That's true.
Like, Untitled Goose Game for some reason was just like a hit, and it's like you're just Goose. You're just a goose. There've been a million games where that's like Sneak King. You know what I mean? It's like a very similar. You're just doing random shit.
Yeah.
And everyone was just into it. Happens to the best of us. Don't know why. That's why I like video games.
Yep. Well, but there's far too many large companies. That's why Elon Musk needs to come in and take over.
I'm sure he's going to make a lot of really fun, big titty X game fucking AI bullshit where all the characters have names you can't pronounce.
Yeah.
All the characters just say random tweets that he pulls from Twitter.
Oh God. No. Stop it.
I don't want to play this game.
I don't want to do it. Let's see. We've got a big Baldur's Gate patch that's coming soon.
Yeah. I want Baldur's Gate 3 for $3.50.
It's on sale for $55, which is
I don't
low.
have $55. I have $4, but I'm not going above $3.50.
Yeah. So apparently, this is the final patch. They talked about how they're going to be betaing it in January, I guess, and it's got a lot of interesting stuff. Like it's kind of crazy because I thought they were like, "Oh, we're pretty much done with this."
Yeah.
So there's a few things. Oh, that's right. That link doesn't work. There's a few things. The first is a photo mode. Well, the first is crossplay, to be honest.
Yeah.
So you can now play between all the different versions, which is great.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Yep. There's also.
I don't want to see all your ugly creations, guys. I'm so sorry.
Every single class in the game is getting a new subclass, which is really interesting. So they all had like 2 or 3 subclasses before, but now they have like one additional subclass.
Nice.
So, which all seem really, really fascinating. And then a full-on photo mode that you can like, not even just like you could pose the characters.
Yeah.
You could like take characters out. You could do stuff. They have some kind of little goofy examples.
Yeah, everyone's jumping in the air doing a pose.
Yeah.
Cute. That's cute.
So yeah, it's going to be betaed in January, I think, because they want to make sure that everything works. They don't want to just push it out and then try to fix it.
Yeah.
And then
go figure.
Yeah. And then
I definitely want to use the photo mode to just take pictures of all the little squirrels that they have running around.
Agreed. Well, speaking of things that should have been in beta before they were released, apparently last week Windows 11 Microsoft put out a Windows 11 update that made like 6 Ubisoft games just stopped working on Windows 11 for some reason.
Like just fully crash out or what?
Yeah.
Why, guys?
Star Wars Outlaws, which is a real bummer because Ubisoft has just been like, they put a lot of money into Star Wars Outlaws. It didn't sell very well.
Yeah.
But
and now you can't play it.
Apparently, it's version 24H2. They've actually altered that patch so that if Windows detects that you have Ubisoft games on your hard drive, it won't install it.
Wow.
And like all this stuff about don't update. But yeah, because apparently it affected Star Wars Outlaws, but also Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Assassin's Creed Origins, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and the Avatar game that came out at the end of last year, which is pretty bad.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. That's funny bad.
Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, funny for me, and maybe not for you guys.
I hate the Windows Update so much because it doesn't ask. It just says, "Hey, I'm going to reboot your computer," and I'm like, "Don't! I'm in the middle of doing things."
Yeah.
And it used to be that you could turn it off, and I'd turn it off and be like, "That's all right. I will take the responsibility for turning it off. I don't need you. Like, I can deal with my own security updates. I don't need you doing it for me." And Microsoft,
they're like, "No,
nope,
now,
sorry." So. Yep. So yeah, if you're having problems with those, you might want to roll back, or at least be aware that that is a thing. Let's see. Speaking of stuff that isn't available, this is kind of a weird story, but Hitman had Conor McGregor level that they put in the game, and they have now taken that level out of the game
because kind of fair.
It's actually weird because I remember when this first came out and I had the question of like, right, but the objective of the level is to shoot Conor McGregor in the face. So
but he still benefits from them using him, right?
I guess that's true. But yeah, it was an elusive target mission called the Disruptor that had him in there, and he was a fighter, and you had to like, shoot
him in the face.
You need to figure out creative ways to kill him, a la Hitman. I'm glad we never did one of those.
Yeah.
It was kind of one of those things that was hovering around where I was like, I don't know, maybe, but everything I've heard about that dude seems like bad.
Yeah.
So I didn't really want to get anywhere near that. But yeah,
from he's not a wrestler, but from a wrestling fan perspective, when he first came out and was all shit talk, I thought he was a entertaining dude. And then the more I learn about him, like most wrestlers, I go, oh, you're just kind of shitty.
You're not playing a heel.
Yeah, you are a heel. Yeah, you're like actually a bad person.
Yeah, I never looked too much into it, but when I had this story, I did some research into like what happened last week in the trial and stuff, and I was just like, oh no,
no, thank you, full stop.
So, yeah. Let's see. Speaking of stuff that isn't going to be available anymore, Casey Hudson's studio, Humanoid Origin, has shut down. Casey Hudson was like a longtime BioWare alum. He's like the guy that was in charge of Mass Effect 3 and like he left and then he left and then BioWare put out Mass Effect Andromeda and it wasn't very good, so he came back to help them get Anthem out the door, and then that wasn't good. So he went off to do his own thing. They were doing kind of an independent sci-fi video game, but it was one of the things where the latest round of funding fell through, and video games are usually made on such a razor's edge that not getting the next round of funding can just be the total death knell.
Yeah.
So that ended up being what happened there.
Sad.
Yeah, I don't know. A lot of people don't like Casey Hudson very much because they put a lot of the Mass Effect 3 ending stuff on him because there was a writer for Mass Effect 1 and 2 that left afterwards, and then there were like these plot threads in 2 that never got picked up in 3 that they think that Casey Hudson just went in a different direction, and then you got the little kid that came out and you got to pick one of the you pull the colored handle that you want for the ending. But I don't know, still not great because there were like 70 people at that company, so not great. Let's see. 2K has basically pulled their launcher for all of their PC games. So they were one of those companies where you'd execute their game and then it would bring up the EA launcher.
Log in and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, and then you would go in. So that's like Civilization and the Mafia trilogy and a bunch of the other games that they put out. BioShock Remastered, BioShock Infinite, The Quarry, Midnight Suns was one of those. They did leave it for, I believe, what was the one? They left it for like XCOM 2 because that launcher was also the mod manager for XCOM 2.
Oh, well, so, at least that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, so there's a reason they left that.
Yeah. I'm all in favor of this because I think that those third-party things...
Nobody wants it. There's never a point where somebody's like, I'm really glad this is happening.
Yeah. I think Ubisoft is one of the worst ones that's still out there where they're just like, do you want you take the points that you got for playing the last game and use it to get a new outfit for this Avatar game? And I'm like, no. I'm not interested in any part of that.
Absolutely not.
That entire sentence was just like, nah, bro.
Wasting your time. You're wasting my time.
Let's see. Speaking of stuff that's getting sunset that nobody cares about anymore, the Xbox avatars are getting phased out in January.
I hated those, if I'm being totally honest.
Yeah.
There was just a point in all game console lives where they were like, don't you want to make yourself in a little digital version so that you could see yourself?
The Mii's.
Yeah, I hated those too.
The fucking Ubisoft thing wants me to like make an avatar.
Jesus
and it's just
Christ.
Like, I don't want to. I don't know. Apparently they're still leaving in, like, there were some games on the 360 that used your avatars in the game.
Yeah, I wish they wouldn't.
So those are still going to be around, the ones that are available on the, like, because this is only for the Xbox Series XS and then the Xbox One. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it was always really weird to boot up an Xbox 360 and immediately have a little guy jump out and a little horse come out or a spaceship or something. And
yeah.
Like,
and then you could change it seasonally and make it, you got outfits for it when you played games and got certain, achievements and shit. And it's like, no.
I'm glad that developers no longer have to put in the work to give my little avatar man a little
like t-shirt like a little guy that floats around. Yeah.
Ship that comes out and flies around the head and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so
that's a lot. None of that.
Yep, none of that. And then let's see. Last, we're a little early this week.
Ooh.
The Witcher 4 is now in full development. So there was an earnings call.
I didn't know that was going to be a thing.
Yep. CDPR has been working towards it. They basically have been doing pre-production, and now they're just in like full-on production to get it out there.
Nice.
Which we considered, Cyberpunk came out in 2020?
Yes.
And then like Phantom Liberty came out last year. If you've got multiple teams that are working on stuff, it's like this is about the time to, December 10th, 2020.
Goddamn.
This is about the time to start ramping up to your next, like to sprint towards the end of your next project.
Yeah.
So, because, they had the big DLC an update for Cyberpunk, but once your team is, because that was kind of like the swan song, we're done with that.
Yeah.
So you got to work on the next thing now. So, but also CD Projekt Red has several different things in development. There's like a spin-off game from
like a Witcher spin-off game.
Yeah, there's a Witcher spin-off game from like did I even pull up the wrong audio for this? The Molasses Flood is doing a spin-off game, and then there's like a new IP. So, okay, there are teams internally at CD Projekt Red. There's Codename Orion, which is the sequel to Cyberpunk 2077.
Mm-hmm.
There's Sirius, which is doing the Witcher spin-off. The Sirius is the name of the project that is being developed by Molasses Flood. It's a spin-off. And there's one called Hadar, which is like an entirely new, we've never seen or heard anything about it thing.
Cool.
And there's The Witcher 4 that's being developed to be put out. I'd be willing to put down money to say that, like, I don't know, people love The Witcher 3 so goddamn much.
Yeah.
That like I hope that they're ready for the highest of all expectations when it comes to The Witcher 4.
And no one's ever going to be happy.
No one's going to be happy, even if it's fine, even if it's great. I personally wish The Witcher was smaller because I've never played through it because I just get bored eventually.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All I can think about is whether or not The Witcher's going to look like Liam Hemsworth instead of Henry Cavill.
They sell skins for both of them. Henry Cavill.
Yeah. Guess which one's going to sell better.
And you know what? With that, we're a little behind, but it's a weird day and there wasn't a lot of news, so we're going to go ahead and take a break. And when we come back, we're going to do the trailers. Starting with a very special announcement from one of our favorites. So yeah, stick around and we'll be back in just a minute. And it's time for trailers, but we had a very special video this week. The 15th annual Devolver Delayed Awards 2024.
Huzzah.
Which is basically how Devolver Digital now
lets people know that they're delaying stuff.
Yeah, announces that it's like December and the games that were slated for 2024 are not going to be coming out this year. But I don't know. They were pretty. It was pretty clever because they basically made up a bunch of games. So they had the best inadvertent tripping simulator, and it was Baby Steps, Clumsy Wumsy, Trip Lads, and Pub Crawling. And obviously
they should
it was
make all of those games. I will play them all.
Yeah, it was Baby Steps, which I really want to play this game.
I do too, but we knew this was delayed, right? I feel like I remember being told that it was going to be delayed.
I think so. I don't remember, but you know, we're in December, and if a thing hasn't already been announced, then like we know it ain't coming out this year. So
silly.
And then we had best late stage capitalism roguelike, multi-level marketing and me, revenue quest,
nice.
Stick It to the Stick Man. And what was the last one? Minimum Wage Warlords.
Which one's the real game?
Stick It to the Stick Man.
That's amazing.
Is
it's so hard to tell which one's the joke.
Yeah. No, Stick It to the
right.
Stick Man is it's one of those like stick figure combat, like the old Flash animations, but it's an actual video game that you can play, and that was from Free Lives, so like Broforce and Genital Jousting.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Angerfoot, which Angerfoot came out this year, so
we had fun with that.
I'm mad that Angerfoot isn't on the Game of the Year awards. So,
well, what the fuck, guys?
And then they had an in memoriam section for games that actually came out this year. Pepper Grinder, Cricket Through the Ages, Children of the Sun, Angerfoot, and The Crush House, which all came out this year.
They were fun.
We're all pretty good, yeah. And Sumerian 6, which we finally played, and the Plucky Squire.
We had fun with that one too.
And,
Never.
Yep.
Never, ever, ever.
And then Best Glass Demon in a leading role. We've got Lucifer's Mirror 2, Windshield Repair Simulator,
nice.
The Shattering Part 2, and Skate Story, which is the actual one.
Yeah.
So. The guy from Skate Story, because they had little blurbs where the people came on. The guy from Skate Story was like, "Yeah, I actually broke my arm this year skateboarding while I was making this game." So,
oops.
Yeah,
that's funny. A color version of a monochromatic classic.
Oh, I don't remember this. Downwell Color, Mint Virtual Boy, Gato Roboto, Rainbow Edition, and Volvi's DX. Oh, I remember this. These are all fake.
Yeah.
And then they bring on what's his face, the guy that made like. The Hex and Inscription and those games, Daniel Mullins, and he's like to talk about it, and he's just like, I don't actually think this is a real game. I've never heard of this before. I definitely didn't make it. I don't know what this is. So
that's funny.
I gotta appreciate that even when Devolver isn't doing, even when they're not doing something specific, that they're still. It's the most entertaining way to delay games I've ever seen.
Yeah, they're fantastic.
More of this.
I love them.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
I love them so much. They're tattooed on me. Yep. I bring it up every time because they paid me to do it.
Damn right. Let's see. So then we had some more trailers. I mean, we might even not have a full group of trailers this year or this week, but
this year we're done. After this,
we're done. This is the last one. I'm sorry, I forgot to tell you guys.
Canceled.
This was funny. I don't know if you know the Replacer. Do you know this character?
No.
Okay, so Peter Stormare plays a character called, quote unquote, the Replacer. And in the Black Ops universe, I think this was like Black Ops 2 was when they first had this idea. It was a marketing campaign where like everybody's off playing Black Ops, and so this guy comes in to do your job. So they'll have a little thing where he's like he's playing the husband of a family, or he's a doctor.
I kind of remember that. Okay.
Yeah. And he's doing this kind of real gruff Russian kind of Eastern European,
like he does.
Yeah.
He's fantastic.
But one of the things they did is they actually made the Replacer skin for Black Ops 6.
That's perfect.
Which is way better than, you know, Skeletor or Pickle Rick or whatever stupid shit they've got.
This makes sense.
Cheech and Chong were in there. This makes way more sense than Cheech and Chong or Snoop Dogg. So
yeah. Yes. Although I'm never mad at Cheech or Chong or Snoop Dogg.
Yeah. Well, it was just weird seeing the video of them driving around in a tank shooting M16s at people.
Yeah, I don't remember that movie, but, you know. Now you're going to be up in smoke.
Yep. Let's see. Last week we got the announcement of a new Overwatch 2 character, Hazard, a new tank, and this week we actually got some gameplay. Man, I gotta tell you, even though I don't play Overwatch, I keep putting Overwatch stories in because I think their art style is interesting.
Yeah.
But this guy is really uninteresting to me.
Yeah.
He's just I said last week he looks like an off-brand '90s X-Man that was made by
somebody. Not even an X-Man though. He looks like a third string bad guy.
Oh, Mr. Sinister's
like
new.
A henchman that like had one good fight and that's it.
A big silhouette.
Yeah.
A new Hazard appears on the cover. Yeah, I think it looks like garbage. He's got the spikes. It's mostly just black leather and then like spikes.
Purple spikes. And that's it.
He's like Scottish and kind of punk rock, and I don't know. I guess he's got a power where when he can like block, and then the spikes on his back like come out and hit people while he's blocking, which I guess is kind of cool.
Yeah.
His ultimate is just like rooting people to the ground like in a certain area, and it's like, well, okay. Nothing about this guy. I don't know. It's, you know, this is their way to kick off the new season, right? Because he's going to be part of the season pass that you have to
and he's
earn.
Not super intriguing,
and he's not that interesting.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they're doing over here with Overwatch.
There's something about him, and I don't know if it's just me and my love of tattoos, but his chest is so bare that it feels like it's like, I get there's like cyborgy whateverness to it.
Yeah.
But there's so much skin and nothing going on.
Yeah.
That I feel like you could have thrown a little bullshit tattoo.
It also reminded me that like, I don't know if it was the last one or no, the last one was the Space Lady, and she had a really cool design.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked her design. But before that, it was the big Maui looking dude with the chain guns. And so you got another big dude. I don't know. Like it just, I don't know. I guess there's people who still like playing the game, but
I miss the time when I enjoyed playing the game.
So,
yeah.
Well, you know, just recently they started running Overwatch Classic, where it was like they went back to the launch lineup with the launch rules with the 6v6.
Yeah.
And rolled back all the updates, and it's just like
it's too late, man.
Yeah.
It's too late for me. I can't go back.
Yeah.
There's no going back. Just because I miss it doesn't mean that it's possible.
Well, you know what? If you're not into Overwatch 2, maybe you'll be into Marvel Rivals when it comes out.
I kind of am. The idea of it, anyway.
Yeah, I'm interested to give it a try. We got a trailer here for the Hydra. One of the levels is like a Hydra base, and I gotta say, like it. I
get to murder definitely not Nazis.
Yes.
Don't mind if I do.
Generic Cthulhu Nazis.
Yeah. Tentacle Nazis.
I like it. I like all the iconography of it. Looks really nice.
Yeah.
Like big wide open spaces, but then it's got like the tentacles. There's like a big mech in there and stuff. I everything I've heard from Marvel Rivals has made it sound like it's like, oh, do you miss Overwatch back when it was a thing?
Oh, but also, and as weird as we complain a lot about like things being licensed things, but like it is kind of appealing to be like Overwatch, but with characters you already know.
Yeah.
Like
instead of Hazard, you get to play as Spider-Man.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah, I kept saying, it's only worth it if Squirrel Girl's in it, and then everyone let me know that they said that she's gonna be, I think, a DLC character.
Okay,
and it's like thank you.
They've been showing off some weird ones recently, like they had Hawkeye. I think was the last character announcement.
That's not a weird one. That makes sense.
I don't know. It's just
the design's a little weird for me.
It's the design of Hawkeye is this like very cyber ninja Hawkeye.
I don't read. I haven't read Hawkeye in a hot minute.
He looks a lot like Hanzo.
yeah, kind of. I get that. Yeah.
With like the samurai swords, and he's got this kind of like ninja stuff. Like I think it would have made more sense if he was what's the character that he was. He was in the one Avengers movie where he plays the cloaked and hooded guy with the swords instead of the archer.
Yeah. Ronin?
No. Ronin? Yes. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. I was going to say Nomad, and now that's way off. But yeah.
But they also had they showed Moon Knight and
Jeff the Shark.
Jeff the Land Shark. I don't know. I do kind of worry a little bit about like between Hawkeye and Moon Knight and Psylocke, and you've got a lot of like just regular sized people. I like the whole like Hulk, and then a smaller character, like the different silhouettes.
Well, this game's only going to work if you give a good array of characters.
Yeah,
like it can't all be just like the same size shaped dudes.
He looks a lot like Reaper.
Stop it, Jeff. You're going to ruin the game for yourself.
No, but see, the thing is, I don't mind that if he plays like Reaper when Overwatch first came out. Like, if I don't mind going back to that. Like,
but also, like, Moon Knight playing like Reaper and Hawkeye playing like Hanzo makes sense.
Yeah, that's true.
That is a connection.
We got Penny Parker, who reminds me a lot of...
Oh, God.
Wait, what's her face? Who's that?
I don't remember. It's all out of my head. That one chick with the mech.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I can see her face and I can't think of her name.
Let's see. We're sitting in front of the internet.
Yeah, I'm literally Googling it right. Diva.
There you go. I don't know. The spider mech is a little bit.
It's a little different, but I bet it plays real similar.
Not as chunky.
Genuinely same vibe.
Yeah.
And then you get the different skins, and you get the different. It could be so fun.
Could be. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
I play with y'all, but if Michael's in it, then he's going to be Spider-Man, and I don't want to play with Michael, who's Spider-Man all the time. He's always, that's going to be his main, even if it's like his least favorite playable character.
Well, now Captain America is in there too. He is a big Captain America fan, so. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I mean, we're only like a week until it finally comes out. So I think it comes out at the end of this week.
Nice. That's going to be fun.
Yeah. Speaking of things that are coming out in the next few weeks, we got a bunch of videos for Secret Level. Mm-hmm. Like they put out a bunch of little kind of like 45-second trailer videos. I, of course, really only cared about the Armored Core ones. They put out like a Warhammer one and a Mega Man one and a D&D and Concord, but I mostly watched the Armored Core one because that's the thing I'm most excited about. It's interesting, though, because in the trailer, there were like two trailers, and one of them was Keanu kind of talking to somebody in his head.
Yeah. Some lady voice.
Yeah, saying she's like it's like, you're like a ghost part of the enhancement process that all Armored Core pilots go through. Which is interesting because in Armored Core 6 you have a lady that's like in your head that's talking to you. It's a different thing, but it's still kind of similar. And I'm just like, yay! Ooh. I hope it makes people buy Armored Core. By the way, everybody, Elden Ring and Armored Core are both on sale for $20 in the current Steam sale.
Now is the time to get it.
If I hadn't already bought them, I'd buy them again. If I thought any of you motherfuckers would play them, I would gift them to you. But I don't think anybody will.
Comment down below.
No, not these motherfuckers. You motherfuckers, like you and John and Michael and if I thought
Michael wouldn't play Armored Core.
Nope. Been trying to get him to do it for 2 years. So he's currently playing Alan Wake 2. So
nice.
Yep. And then we got one that was a little bit more like mech action, and it all looks very cool. It was interesting to look at this because
that is pretty.
As somebody who really likes mech stuff, I now realize that after playing 100 hours of Armored Core, that watching this, it's like I can tell the difference between an Armored Core mech and like a different mech.
Yeah,
but it looks really cool. I think you said you are most excited for
Spelunky.
You got Pac-Man, Spelunky. There's Concord. Does that Crossfire X game has a segment in here? Yeah, it's very strange.
Mega Man looked kind of weird. I saw a little bit of the Mega Man one. Not bad, just different than I was expecting.
Yeah, it's like semi-realistic.
Yeah, that shit always makes me like it's not the same feeling you get with like an Uncanny Valley, but it's something similar to what you get from an Uncanny Valley. You know what I mean? Where you're just like, I felt the same way seeing the trailers for like the when they did the Buzz Lightyear thing, where it was like you're used to seeing them like little toys, and now you're seeing them in a different level of detail.
Yeah.
And Mega Man is the same way. Like, it's not too detailed for Mega Man. I think it works perfectly.
Yeah.
But I'm used to seeing them as like
a little cartoon guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now it's way more detailed than that. And so it's just, it'll
be interesting. I'm also really curious about the Pac-Man one.
I am too. I'm super intrigued at what that's going to be.
So yeah, but that's coming out on December 10th. So we'll get to find out. We'll find out then.
Yay.
Let's see. Speaking of mechs and space and all kinds of stuff, we got the 1.0 launch trailer for a game called Void Crew. This is a game I'd never heard of before, where it's like a space game where you're flying around a spaceship and you're like doing combat and collecting resources, but it's an up to 4-player PvE like multiplayer game, and it looks like it has some of that DNA that like Sea of Thieves, where it's like, oh, there's a breach, can you go fix it?
Yeah.
And there was another game called like Dropship or something that was, I thought this was when I saw it, because I saw this on Steam first, and I looked at it and I was like, actually, I've never heard of this before.
Yeah.
And it looks kind of cool, actually.
Looks super neat. I'm intrigued.
And Focus Entertainment is putting it out, so, I mean, which is not like a huge brand, but they're not like no name either.
Yeah.
I don't know. It kind of looks like No Man's Sky a little bit as well, like the way the characters look. They kind of these very
I can get that
strange, over-engineered biomechanical outfits in some cases, but
yeah. Oh man, the like backgrounds on these are so pretty.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe this is what we do for Christmas. Maybe we
always go to space.
We're going to space.
We're gonna launch us to space for Christmas.
Going to space. Yeah, but that's out now on Steam. Let's see. We got the launch of the Star Wars Outlaws Wild Card story pack.
Sure.
Which is where the KVS has to infiltrate a Sabak game where Lando Calrissian is playing.
Yeah. Tell me I get to seduce Lando Calrissian. I'm in.
I don't think so.
Then what's the fucking point?
Also, I don't like whoever the voice person is they got for Lando isn't that.
No.
They're like 60% Billy D. Like
sometimes when people try to go 100%, it sounds bad for impersonations. We were just talking about this over everyone trying to do Robert Downey Jr. for Iron Man. Anytime there's Iron Man in a game, even if they're like, it's not the movie's Iron Man, it's always Robert Downey Jr. impersonators.
Yeah.
And they all suck.
Yeah.
And it's...
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the thing is, with this, we had a story last week where they like fundamentally altered the way that the game worked. Like where they were these forced stealth missions that you had to do, and they basically made them. It used to be that if you got seen, then it was game over and you had to start over.
Yeah.
And they were like, well, now you can shoot your way out if you get seen. And I'm like,
well, that's not a stealth mission at all.
That's such a fundamental change that I'm going to keep waiting for you guys to finish this before I try to play any of it, because it seems like it's just going to get better over time. Something I'm really dissatisfied is a thing that we keep seeing in the video game industry.
Here's a broken game and we're going to change what it is.
Yeah. Like
and in 2 years it won't be what it is now, and in 8 years you'll like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like and this is like I want to be pretty easy going on GSG, but like that Stalker 2 or GSC, that Stalker 2 game came out, and they just had a big update where they're trying to just fix the system that like makes enemies appear in the game, that kind of tracks like the state of the world and then puts stuff in there for you to interact with.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't think that should be something that happens like the week after the game comes out. I think it should be happening like 6 months before the game comes out. But like, again, I don't want to be too hard on GSC because, you know, they're a Ukrainian development team that literally had to like take their shit and flee the country.
Yeah. Developing during a war is a bit intense.
Yeah. But by the same token, I guess it's just, you know, there's so many games. Like there was that Star Wars Jedi Outcast or whatever, the sequel to the other Star Wars game that came out like 2 years ago, I think. And I tried playing it and I was like, this is too rough. I don't want to play it. I'll wait for it to be fixed. And now it's like, well, it's kind of fixed, but also it's been 2 years and I'm fine without you, video game. So I don't really know what to say. I don't know what to say because I was really excited for this game before it came out, but it kind of runs a little badly and they're still trying to figure out how the game even works. And I'm just like, I spent $800 on a video card. I spent $700 on PS5 Pro, and this game still looks like meh.
Yeah.
Like this trailer. Like some of it looks fine, but every time like the main character with her hair shows up, it's like,
yeah, that's true. That's very true.
So I don't know.
Sad Star Wars noise.
True. Is that just R2?
Beep boop beep.
We also got the launch trailer for all of you Avatar heads. Are there people out there? Some people like that Avatar. I don't care for that Avatar.
I don't care for that Avatar.
There was that Avatar Frontiers of Pandora game that came out last year, and they put out a new DLC for $20 called Secrets of the Spires.
Ooh.
This probably falls under the we sold a collector's edition, so we had to put out some DLC where you go to a new tribe of Na'vi in a secret area, and the bad humans are there, and so you gotta take them down,
murder them
with your dragons and your bows and arrows.
They're going after your unobtainium.
Yep.
Impossible to get him. Spaghetti-ium. Sorry.
No, that's fine. I fucking hate Avatar.
Yeah, it's fine if you like it. It's just I just don't think about it.
My thing
it doesn't exist if I'm not being told about it. Does that make sense?
Yes,
like it's
100%.
not that I'm like I hate it or like I love it or I don't. It just if it's not around, I don't think about it at all.
People told me they were like, because I never saw the second one.
Yeah, I didn't bother.
They were just like, oh, but the second one's way better, and I'm like, I don't care. Even if it's a good movie, I don't think I care.
Yeah,
like the first one was entirely uninteresting to me. And I like science fiction, but all the blue cat people stuff, and it's like, it's just not a thing to me. Quit trying to make Pandora a thing. I don't care about it, but I don't know. Some people really like the game. Let's see. From there, we got the launch trailer for 9 Souls on the PS5 and PS4.
Ooh.
It's a game that came out earlier this year by Red Candle Games, who made like Detention and Devotion, those horror games.
Yeah.
And then Devotion got shut down by the Chinese government because there was like a Winnie the Pooh reference in it. And they spent years trying to, like, it was delisted for a long time. But yeah, this is like a little side-scrolling action, kind of cyberpunk. They're calling it Dao Punk, where it's got these really heavy kind of like Buddhist Taoist kind of
I'm into that
stuff. And then it's a really intricate like kind of platforming action Metroidvania style game. It's difficult, but I will say that if anybody's interested in playing it, it's one of those games that it has a shitload of what would be quote unquote accessibility options that allow you to just change the combat to make it easier.
To fit your gaming style a little better.
Yeah. And I kind of wish when I was playing it, I got a little stuck on a boss, and I kind of wish that I'm still not in the mindset where when that happens, I'm just like, let me just put it on easy. I don't give a shit. Because instead I stopped playing it.
Oh, so, yeah. Your options are to like stop playing or like hate play,
right?
Where you're just like, fuck this game, I'm gonna keep doing it. And it's like maybe fresh eyes. And if you stop and walk away and like have dinner and come back, and you're like, no,
or put it on easy.
Yeah,
like,
or you just put it on easy
and have a good time.
Enjoy yourself.
Yeah,
yeah. I'm from a generation where we didn't enjoy ourselves.
Enjoy myself during recreation time. Madness, lunacy, ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. Let's see. From there, we got the early access gameplay trailer for Path of Exile 2.
Oh.
I think I might look at. I don't know. I'm always unsure about early access, but I don't know if you know Path of Exile.
No, I was going to ask.
It was a free to play Diablo style ARPG.
Okay.
And the big claim to fame was that when Diablo 3 came out, it was very like colorful. A lot of people didn't like how colorful it was. Path of Exile came out, it was very not colorful. It leaned into a lot of the things that Diablo 3 didn't in order to like streamline everything. It's very popular. The second one, they've been working on it for a long time. They actually had to delay it by like 2 weeks to do one other thing, but they finally got it.
We do like delays.
They finally got it put out. I'm a little confused because, as you might have noticed in the beginning, there's a lot of this like weird cyberpunk Aztec looking stuff.
Yeah.
Where it's like Aztec sacrifice.
Yeah, blood pools and
stuff.
Hanging corpses.
But then like a lot of like weird, it looks like cybernetic kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But then with like the Aztec carving, I don't know. It's very odd. The actual game itself, the gameplay, I mean, looks a hell of a lot like Diablo. I was thinking about trying it because I really didn't care for Diablo 4, even though I've heard it's like, oh, they fixed it. I'm like, well,
God. Every other conversation we have is they fixed it, or if you wait a little longer, they're in the process of fixing it.
Yeah.
Did we just watch 6 people get hanged?
I believe that. Yes. Well, actually, if you look,
that's more than 6.
It's more than 6, but if you look, there's one person who doesn't, and they like fall through the floor and run away. I believe that's how you pick your class at the beginning of the game.
Holy
is you've got
shit.
all the people, and you pick the one that falls.
Yeah, and whoever you select is the one that doesn't hang to death.
Yep.
That's fucking dark.
Also, that's you see that skill tree?
Yeah, that is
a hell of a skill tree.
Web of lies. Some of those skills go in a little spiral.
Yep.
You guys are scaring me. This game is creeping me out. Not in a visual sense, but just in like the way it is. There's a lot.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
Yep.
You guys are making me uncomfortable.
You got the kind of little action montage.
This is why I stick to shit like Spelunky. Because there's no, you get better. There is no skill added.
Yeah. Yeah, but I'll tell you, it looks great.
It's awesome.
I think I want to give it a shot. Again, I didn't know that how much of this like Aztec iconography there is in it. It seems like quite a bit. Oh, and I kind of love this guy at the end with the hand wings. Yeah.
Ooh.
So
he's gonna slap the shit out of you with those wings.
I think it's right now it's in early access. It's in like 1.0 early access. And they're obviously going to be doing a lot more updates to it, but that I did it? No. No, that's what it is. It's in one of those, like, it's not an early access. It's in the buy the founders pack to get early access.
Yeah.
Early access. So, but
ooh.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe something to give it a try. Let's see. We got the launch trailer. Speaking of Diablo-style games, we got the launch trailer for Raven's Watch. This is a kind of a ARPG where you play as a variety of fairy tale characters. Like if you saw when they're little
like
lineup.
Grimm's fairy tale,
Beowulf,
Snow Queen, Beowulf, Aladdin,
and Sun Wukong, and just a kind of
what a combo. I didn't catch the last one.
It was Carmilla. But like one of them is I remember the trailer for this had a little Red Riding Hood, and then she turns into like a werewolf.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
They also had one that I really like where you'll see there's a there's somebody that looks like they have like a giant stick like that.
Yeah.
That's the Pied Piper. That's his flute turns into like a giant bow staff.
A whacking stick.
Yeah. I don't know. This was kind of like I like the concept, but when I watched their little montage, it's a little generic looking, especially compared to Path of what the one
Exile?
we just looked at. Yeah, Path of Exile 2.
Yeah.
It's got this kind of like cell shaded look to it, but
Yeah.
like there's just a lot less in the environments. It's a little sparser.
It is. I will say Path of Exile 2 looked better.
Yeah.
But like, these are two totally different styles.
Yeah. So I don't know. It might be worth checking out. Like, yeah, there's some
more
interesting
hand
stuff.
monsters. You guys okay?
The fact that one of the characters is a mermaid that just kind of like swims across the land,
just like fish flops around, or what?
No, it appears they have like kind of like Iceman. They have like permanent water underneath them, and they kind of like wiggle around.
That makes sense.
So, let's see. In other kind of spooky games, we got this is the launch trailer for a game called Enigma of Fear, which is this is an animated intro of like a lady and a little cartoon dog, and they're trying to figure out what happened, and they've got like a spooky haunted house that they go into. And
does the dog at any point say "rut-row"?
No, but he's got very people expressions.
He does.
But then the game itself is this kind of isometric pixel.
Oh,
thing.
I like that.
Yeah, it's got kind of an interesting.
Sometimes with the animation stuff, and then they go, and here's the gameplay, and it doesn't look anything like it. And this, though it is different, it's enough that it doesn't feel like I got ripped off in that way. Tricked.
It's very interesting, and it's like a kind of survival horror puzzle based. It looks like there's definitely like combat to it, but that you also have a kind of like trying to figure out how to get through the mansion type of scenario.
Yeah.
And I also like the fact that your character has a dog, because
if I have to watch this dog die, everyone dies.
I don't get the impression that's what's going on here, but it looks pretty cool. Let's see from there. Now, this is an interesting one, Amanda. This is a game called Moons of Darsalan, and it's like you get these little pixel guys, and you're like leading them around, kind of lemming style.
Yeah.
And you've got a kind of a side-scrolling action thing, and there's like kind of pre-rendered backgrounds, and then during this trailer, there's a lot of like cutting away to like pixelated pictures of people in like spacesuits and stuff.
Sexy ladies in spacesuits.
Especially like there's a lot of pictures of it's like a lady in a spacesuit with an open helmet with the boobs are all the way out of the spacesuit.
That's your spacesuit is not working for you.
So I included this because it's something strange that happened. So I looked at this, and I kept looking at these pictures that they were flashing up, and I was like,
are they AI?
Is this AI? I don't know if this is AI.
I was wondering that myself, but I figure if it was, you would tell me.
So like
you would tell me if they were AI.
So like they don't like when the pictures of the ladies with their boobs out in a space helmet, they seem to have no consistent style to their boobs being out and the spacesuit that they're wearing.
Yeah.
Also, the gun that this lady is holding is being held in it's a weird looking.
I also think the helmet and hair is kind of an indicator.
So
because they have the big flowy hair, but it's coming out of the side of the helmet on some of those.
Yeah. And then the question becomes like, well, a lot of the other stuff that you're seeing here could also be like an AI picture of a thing that then had a pixel pass run over it.
Yeah.
So I went and searched online to be like, Moons of Darsalan, is this AI?
Yeah.
And everybody's like, yes, this is 100% AI. But then everybody's like, well, how do you know that? And they're like, well, I looked at it and it looks like AI.
Therefore, it's AI.
Yeah. There's also, you can't hear, but there's a song that goes along with this.
Is it an AI song?
Might be also an AI thing.
Oh, guys.
So
that sucks because the game is kind of my jam without that art.
Yeah.
And I don't hear the music, right? But like the way it looks and the way it plays is like my jam.
But then like here at the end you see this guy and he's holding this gun, right? And like the gun is all wrong. Like you would never draw somebody holding with the two pistol grips, and it kind of flows together. Like, what is all this nonsense? This is what you get out of AI. And so then I went and looked the guy up on Twitter.
Yeah.
And the thing is that on Twitter, it's Dr. Cucho Games. I've never heard of this before.
Good old Doc Cooch.
And then on Twitter, they were like they were replying to Elon Musk's announcement that we had at the beginning of like, haha, Elon, I already made an AI game in 3 days using a bunch of AI. And so, but then the question is, I'm still just like, is that a troll or are you being like serious? Like here, he says, too late, Elon Musk. I already did my own AI game in 3 days with just a few prompts. Hashtag AI art, hashtag AI, hashtag Gen AI, like in response to this. And there's another one where he just says, I have made this game with AI in just 3 days. Wow, so easy. So I'm going to take the guy, like he could be trolling.
Yeah, but then as somebody who doesn't want to support AI in that way, I have to take them
at their word, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to play it.
Yeah. So
done.
It was a weird roller coaster to go down where I was like, is this AI? And what it really highlighted for me was that we're getting really close to
you not be able to tell.
How would you know? Like if this guy had said on his Twitter, no, this was all 100% regular, and if a few of the pictures were a little bit better, like if they had he'd spent a little bit more time getting a more cohesive output from the AI generator, I might not have known that it was AI.
And people that maybe don't have an eye for it or aren't really looking for it would have probably no idea with this.
Yes. So
there's something weird about it, right? Because you just get a flash of those images and you can kind of... Because I was going to ask if that art was AI.
Well, a lot of the...
And then, like, I don't know about the gameplay being AI or not, but, like, this stuff, because I see a lot of these kinds of AI art being shared a lot.
Yeah.
So it does kind of like, oh, yeah, I'm getting the vibe.
Yeah.
Without seeing it long enough to be like, oh, if you analyze the gun or you look at this, do you know what I mean?
Right.
It's not until we pause and really look at it that we would confirm it ourselves.
It's also, it appears that they've generated AI and then put a pixel filter over it.
Yeah,
like
which
a mosaic
helps
filter.
Like cover a little bit.
Yeah. Because I think that, like, you know, if you look at that, we're looking at this one picture of this lady with this gun. This gun has like a stock. The stock is on the wrong side of her arm. Any normal person would have put the bottom of this on this side.
Also, her arms is that just a weird proportion thing? They just look, her arms, they just look really
tiny. Maybe her butt's just...
Or maybe they badonked her donk a little too hard.
Yeah. So, I don't know. It was an interesting thing to go down, and part of me started to think that it probably was AI just because the loading screens and the gameplay have nothing to do with each other. Like the gameplay is very this minimalistic guys, and the loading screens are these very like retro
voluptuous women and pin-up-y so almost like pulp novel-y art, but like, which is fine, and a lot of people do that, but
or they have a YouTube.
Also the
YouTube is an unsafe link. Okay,
that's fair.
So Moons of Darsalan, maybe maybe give that one a pass.
Yeah, shame.
If you do want to play some good pixel stuff, Nintendo Switch Online is adding some new Sega Genesis games to the expansion pack. Toe Jam and Earl, Panic on Funkatron.
Fuck, I haven't thought about Toe Jam and Earl in a hot minute.
They put out there was a new Toe Jam and Earl game like 3 or 4 years ago. Vector Man. They put out the Vector Man for the Genesis.
Yeah.
And then the last one was Mercs, which was...
I don't think I remember Mercs at all.
It was a port of an arcade game. The arcade game was huge. It had a huge vertical screen, I remember. So, yeah, those are...
cool.
Those are on your Nintendo Switch if you want to play them. And then also on the Switch, we got another trailer for Professor Layton in the New World of Steam.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think this one shows a lot more that we haven't already seen, but I don't know. Are you at all? Are you a Leighton?
I am
head?
not.
No.
Every fandom cannot possibly be something head, Jeff.
What do you mean?
Because we were talking about Avatar, and you're like, I don't know if you're an Avatar head. And then you ask me if I'm a fan of Professor Layton. You ask if I'm a Professor Layton head.
That's where the fandom is. It's in your brain.
In your head.
Well, are you a Professor Layton foot?
Like, that's fair.
See, that doesn't make any sense.
Maybe it's a Professor Layton heart.
Oh.
You ever think about it?
These games seem too frustrating to me to be able to be loved, but
that's fair.
I don't know. I'm not a puzzle guy, so the idea of like this pure puzzle game.
Yeah, no, I'm not.
I also just never played any of the DS games, so I don't have any like real fun feelings for the characters.
Yeah.
But also, it's a very weird concept where they go to a steampunk city and then there's a gunslinger ghost telling them not to seek the new world, and they're like, "Okay, well, I'm gonna." Like,
how is that weird? That sounds like something we would do.
I don't.
The gunslinger ghost told us not to do something. We're definitely not going to do it.
Why is there a gunslinger ghost in the steampunk world? I don't understand.
I don't know.
It doesn't make any fucking sense.
Maybe like Steam.
Speaking of shit that doesn't make any sense, the Game Awards has Fortnite Island this year with a big old virtual Jeff Keighley in it.
What the fuck?
Yeah,
guys,
they're having a one of the awards is going to be for like best Fortnite Island, so they have their own little thing.
Okay. It's fine.
Where you can go, you can play the islands, and there's also a little shooting gallery where you can try to get the high score. You can vote for who you want, and there's a real creepy looking Jeff Keighley there to
Can I shoot Jeff Keighley, please?
Probably not, but
can we make Jeff Keighley do a Fortnite dance?
It's if I can get Jeff Keighley's skin to play in Fortnite.
Jeff Keighley, we're coming for your skin.
Yeah, I don't know. It's very weird because Fortnite now has the ability to make kind of whatever you want, and it all seems to be just like bad marketing. Like it all seems to be just like really. It's like whenever they make,
like in a funny way.
They make like, oh, we've got Second Life. What companies want to be a part of this? And it's like, oh, here's the Arm & Hammer block of Second Life.
Dude, I'm fucking into it. They're like, it's Fortnite, but now it's Kraft Mac and Cheese Fortnite.
Yeah.
Like, sure. Don't forget your cheesy noodle skin.
Your Kraft mac and cheese, your blue box backpack. Oh, there it is. Okay, well, how about something that's not
Fortnite?
Oh no,
Jeff Keighley?
No, not Jeff Keighley, but it is Fortnite because they announced the Chapter 6 Season 1 of Fortnite, which is called Hunters.
Ooh.
Looks like the it's all Asian themed, but a little bit more like kind of like a city. The new kind of featured character is Baymax.
Oh, cute.
From Big Hero 6.
Yeah.
And then there's appears to be like little like monsters that you can hunt.
Little gooey guys.
And a lot of kind of ninja oni samurai stuff.
Yeah, I'm not against it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of interesting.
Keeping this game fresh as shit.
Well, they update it like every fucking 3 weeks. So
nutty, man.
And not just that, but then we got to the end, and also Godzilla,
Gojira himself.
Yeah, even though he's not, he's the Monarch one. Boo,
boo.
Give me the stupid looking one. I want the Shin Godzilla
that drags his ass across. the ground.
When he can't stand up, he's got the big googly eyes. And he's just
like,
fucking
kill me. Yeah, that one.
But
never related to Godzilla more than when he couldn't stand up and just dragged himself across the ground.
And it just had that expression on his face like, I don't know where I am.
I forgot how to blink. Yeah, that's the one.
So yeah, that's out. It's pretty cool. You know,
I'm into it.
Last one, I think.
I'm not because I'm not going to play it, but I'm into the idea of it.
I think the last big one they had was like, it had like a Mad Max. Like last season, it was like they had like a car. Wasteland, and it had like Magneto in it, and it was very strange. So, but yeah, I gotta give them credit, man. Those Fortnite dudes, they keep
churning out new stuff,
churning it out, new skins, new stuff. I don't know how they do it, but
nonstop with them.
Well, if you need something to play that's not Fortnite online, I believe you and I played Star Wars Hunters.
Yeah, we had fun with that. There weren't a lot of characters, but it was Fun.
Yep, they've had some time to add some more stuff to it, and they're putting out an enhanced edition that's a little bit higher resolution and it runs a little better. And it's going to be on the PC, and it's a standard kind of Overwatch. I hope that they managed to clean up like the intro screen, because it was like a nightmare.
We were like over simulated with it. Yeah.
Also, though, I think that if it's on, wait a minute, oh, that's like the Emperor's Window?
Oh, yeah. But like in a shield form.
As a shield?
Sure.
I have a feeling, though, when it gets onto the PC, people will start taking it way more seriously and it'll be less fun, because when you and I played it, I felt like I was playing a bunch of babies.
Yeah.
And it was great. I could really beat those babies down.
Yeah, it was really punching all the babies.
So, but yeah, there's a Steam playtest December 13th through 16th, and then the end of January next year, it'll come out on the PC.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh, shit, weird. There's all the time that we saved in the last segment. PS Plus has announced their December games, and there's some pretty good ones. It's Aliens Dark Descent, which was like kind of a management thing. It's very interesting. It was like a top down where you had a squad. You kind of tell them where to go, but you couldn't specifically tell them like what to shoot. So then like a morale system where you wanted to like avoid the aliens, and then what you could trigger giant waves that would come after you.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And then It Takes Two, which was Game of the Year like 2022, I think.
Something like that, yeah.
21, 22. And Temtem, which is like an independent Pokemon. It's somebody making their own Pokemon, and it was apparently very good. So
nice.
Yep. I recommend all of those. 2021 was when It Takes Two got Game of the Year, which was fucking crazy. As mentioned way back a few hours ago, the developer Black Myth Wukong has said that there's some surprises coming later this year. We're not entirely sure what yet. Apparently, they did this Golden Joystick Awards. They gave Black Myth Wukong Ultimate Game of the Year. I think I just don't see what people see in this game. I played it and it seems fine, but not in any way, shape, or form Game of the Year material.
Even in this dry spell of a year,
I would put the Prince of Persia game as a better game. Like that's such a hell of a game. Like I don't know. I what I've been saying is that I played Black Myth Wukong and I played Stellar Blade and I finished Stellar Blade and I did not finish Black Myth Wukong. And I know Stellar Blade has a lot of like controversy with the cyber stripper outfits in it and all the culture war stuff, but I just thought it was a better game. But yep, there's going to be some stuff happening. I mean, the big thing that everybody is asking about is when does it come out on the Xbox, because it's only on PS5 as far as consoles go right now. So but yeah, so we'll see. The Game Awards, of course, are December 12th. So
close.
We'll probably be seeing, that's our last gasp at stuff for this year. Okay, now we're real over time. Little Nightmares. There was a bunch of people who spun off from the Tarsier Studios, who makes Little Nightmares games. And they have a new organization called Section 9 Interactive. They haven't shown anything, but there was a story this week that said that Epic Games is going to be funding their next game, which is good because Epic has way too much money just laying around, and I'd rather they use it for this than anything else. So.
Yeah, make more games.
EA for some reason has stealth released this game called Command and Conquer Tiberian Alliances that was a browser based game from like 12 or 13 years ago. And it went online on May 2012. So that's like before RageSelect was a thing. It was when you and I were still working at Spill. And then, but they took the whole thing and they putting it out on Steam as a free to play game, and it looks like a really terrible Command and Conquer game. It looks like a really. I
mean, if it was a browser one, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, it's a 2012 browser game.
Yeah, like if they didn't do anything to make it better,
like Farmville and shit.
Oh God, that is that same time frame.
Yeah, it doesn't have a release date yet, but it does have a Steam page, and
Sure.
Very strange.
Yeah.
Let's see. This is a very strange story, just real quick. Simpsons Hit and Run, the Texas game that everybody really liked.
Yeah.
Apparently the studio that made it was like super, like they were already working on a sequel, and then it was what's the licensing company for The Simpsons? Was it Gracie Farms or Gracie Hills? They go shh at the end of the episode with the whole thing. They called them up and they said, like, we'll give you 3-game license for no additional money. Like, you just make more. Like, we don't want anything. Go for it. And then apparently the publisher, Vivendi, at the time was like, no.
Why?
And stop what you're doing, and like we're going to tell you what to do next.
So interesting.
Don't make more Simpsons games. And it was like, what?
Yeah,
because that's like such a beloved game.
Yeah, I imagine it was pretty successful for its time.
Yep. So,
and they were like, I don't want money.
Who knows? Speaking of inscrutable nonsense, Hideo Kojima was talking with Variety about the Death Stranding film project. And he says, quote, I aim to present a new dimension of cinematic adaptation that goes beyond merely turning a game into a live action movie, unquote. I don't know what that means.
I don't know what that means.
I don't know what that means. Is it a video game or is it a movie? Or is it like a theme park ride? There's only so many things it could be.
It's an experience.
Okay, what does that mean? There's a popcorn bucket you can put your dick in? Like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Only in 4D screens will you be able to watch. You have to be strapped into the chair and they do the
which one is what's the rumble chair?
Isn't that 4D?
D-box?
D-box, that's what it's called. That
was D-box. Get the D-box. Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about, man.
I mean, like, I'm into it. You could just take my money, but at the same time, what?
Yeah.
Like, huh?
Yeah. And last but not least, somebody out there is doing the work of God. So when Donkey Kong Country first came out, there were a series of what they call Keshi figures, which is short for Keshigumo, which means eraser rubber. They were basically like really cheap little statues that were like little
soft rubber.
Yeah. And so there's a guy here online, Mr. Talida, on Blue Sky, who found all these things. They were never released in the United States. Found all these things, 3D scanned them, and then put all the scans online so that people can 3D print their own versions. He made a little like intro thing that's kind of a recreation of the beginning of Donkey Kong Country, but using these weird figurines or little scans of them. But yeah, so I was thinking about how what an interesting way to do like archival but of physical objects. Like, no, you can't get these, but I'll give you the instructions that you can make them yourself if you want.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, so pretty cool. And that's the show. That's it.
Huzzah!
I think we went a little over, but I think we went a little under, so I think we're about even. So
we true neutral.
Yes.
Nice.
True neutral. Patreon.com/RageSelect is where you go if you'd like to help us out. Kick some bucks, get some bonus videos in return. Boy, we've only got one more month until Christmas. So it's almost here.
Yeah. Very exciting.
My goodness, I don't know what to do.
Yay. Christmas time is near.
Yeah, and what better gift to give than the gift of Patreon.com/RageSelect?
Hell yeah. You join our community.
Yeah.
Hang out in the Discord.
Yeah. I can't sell you a membership to gift to somebody else, but you could always just sign them up and then put your credit card on the billing for their email.
That feels good.
It probably is against the law. Actually, don't do that. Don't do that.
Go. Like you.
Yeah, you guys go work that out amongst yourselves. You know what? I'm very tired. We need to stop. And I need to go to bed. Goodbye.
Bye.